Yeah.
I have another question for you guys. It seems to me that the 49ers plan is to roll over their $46 million in cap space. It's surprising that they have this much cap space, considering they have $92 million in dead cap space, which is by far the most in the league. It makes sense that you would think that this would be the year that they wouldn't spend so much. I mean, obviously extend your stars, but maybe don't bring in a bunch of outside free agents because you have all this dead cap. But they just so happen to have more than 46 million in salary cap space, second most behind the Patriots. And it doesn't seem like they're super eager to use any of it. Why? And do you think it's smart for them to, I guess, roll it all over to 2026?
I'll take this first. I love this. It's about time. One thing that you got to understand is that one of the things that makes a team viable is being able to have spending power at the right time, not just being able to have it. And one thing about our team is that we're getting younger. We're still about one more full draft away from kind of tipping the scales to having a mostly young team that's up and coming. But while that's happening, you don't need to kind of muddy up the maturation process or development with free agents, guys that are coming in to take away reps and opportunities from young guys that we got to see what we can get the best out of them. Also, one thing about having good money is that it shows equity in your guys to keep them here. That's one thing that I love about our organization is that we take care of our guys, right? Like if we got a guy that we really want to keep here, we put our stamp on him. And you can't do that when you're constantly bringing in all of these players who really aren't a part of our culture. And that's my third point, which is culture. Spend your money on your draft, okay? That's what builds culture. That's what built our culture in 2017 and on. It's because we got a bunch of guys in here that got drafted and they all played together. They had a maturation process where they grew up from pups to dogs. And that's how great teams are built. I don't want to be one of these a la carte teams that we always kick the can whenever we try to get close. I mean, getting a Christian McCaffrey at that time, that was a savvy move. Also playing a little bit of interference with the Rams, but that was what needed to be done at the moment, right? Bringing in some of these other guys for on the edge, be able to help us out, that needed to be done at the moment. But for me, I think that the cap is going up. We've got a huge surge of money coming once we get all that dead money back, all that dead cap back. And we have room for us to really make a strike on somebody that can actually be young and be a starter. That's the thing. You got to have a lot of money to get a guy that you really want in free agency, which is still young enough and good enough to be a part of the culture, right? And you got to have serious money. If you come in there with only $45, $50 million, you're going to get what you pay for. You're going to get an overused older player, right? So if we're going to spend, let's spend for real. That's why I like the aspect of going to go get somebody like a Christian McCaffrey who had still a lot of tread on his tires. But if you just have enough to, be in the shop, you're just going to buy anything. So I love this.
Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code Cohn, COHN, and download the app now.
Save the cap.
Let me blow your mind. I'm about to blow your guys' mind right now. Okay?
Dude.
All right.
Do it.
46 million is the number that we're talking about rolling over.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who has 46 million guaranteed next year? Brock Purdy. 46 million guaranteed next year. Brock Purdy. The exact amount we're talking about rolling over. If they roll this money over to next year with Brock Purdy, that offset 46 million that he's guaranteed, and they can compete on a 2-year plan. After that, they only have to guarantee Brock 12 million, 30 million in 2027, but 12 million guaranteed. And then they have that out. So I don't know, maybe it's a coincidence, but 46 million rolling over, 46 million guaranteed Brock Purdy.
Yeah, we're talking cash flow versus cap. It's not going to be 46 million when it's all said and done as far as what they carry over, because there's a couple of things that you have to.
Yeah.
Right. But the 46 million we're talking about right now, they're going to sign some sort of veteran. They're going to make a trade. There are players that are going to hit their incentives. That number's going to go down. I I would venture to guess that number ends up being around 30 million when it's all said and done, just through the ebbs and flows of the season, injuries, signing guys, what have you. But I do think it's the right move. And the reason I think it's the right move, one, coach brought it up. We're talking about age. You realize the 49ers are still projected to be the fourth oldest team in the league on average age going into next year.
Oh, that's because of John Weeks.
Well, I got it. I got
We're
it.
old, man.
But at the end of the day, like, they do need another season where they infuse a bunch of youth into this roster to fully get it back down. The Chiefs are projected to be the youngest team, like, oddly enough. So that's one. And number two, if Trent Williams is not on this team, or if CMC is not on this team, which I think there's a possibility for one, if not both of those things happening, you're going to take dead cap hits, whether you move on from him, you cut him, you cut them, you trade them, or they retire. No matter what, you're going to take some dead money, and you're going to need some of this cap carried over to absolve that. So I think it's the right move. I don't think there's a move out there right now, a big money move, to just go out and spend all the money in the world that is going to make them so much more competitive than they are today. I think there's smaller ancillary moves like a Simmons or something like that they can go do to improve the roster and still also not spend big money and carry money over. I think carrying money over is the right thing to do.
Sensible. I'm going to try to pull in another Bay Area team here. I'm going to pull in the Warriors. To me, this is a very classic Golden State Warriors situation, the 2-timeline situation. Now, I understand both teams are like, man, got this aging core, got to get younger. It would be so great to augment this aging core with a bunch of youngsters on the bench. Didn't work. Did not work. It turns out if you're committed, you got to pick one. Are you committed to the young core and getting them playing time and taking your lumps and maybe missing the playoffs or whatever? Or are you committed to your aging core? And for the Warriors, it's clear they need to be committed to Stephen Curry. You drafted him. He's your franchise. I don't give a damn that he's 37 years old. You got to be committed to maximizing that. So sorry, Jonathan Kuminga. With the Niners, I think it's similar. I mean, they haven't won championships, but like, George Kittle's not getting any younger. You drafted him. He's been loyal to you. He's going to be 32 years old. Are you really prepared to just kind of sacrifice a year of his prime if he's still in it? I mean, I don't think it's what he would want. Is that really the best move, to play for 2026 and to really be like, have one eye on the future and not both eyes on the present? It seems to me that Eddie DeBartolo would be fully all in for now, whether that was the right thing or not. I mean, I can't imagine Eddie DeBartolo going into a season like this where he holds on to Trent and CMC and Kittle and says, this $46 million, it's for next year. We're not going to spend this. I don't think that's how we do it. So to me, it's like, maybe it's the right thing to do, but they can't be talking about this quest for 6 shit with $46 million in cap space. You got to be talking about rolling over the quest for 6 to 2026. It's a rollover year.
I will say one thing that kind of backs up your stance a little bit is the reason that we think that you think, or some people think that they should go all in, is one, the Super Bowl is at their home stadium, and number two, they've got this easy schedule. Well, when you fast forward to next year and the year after, now a lot can change in 2 years. I understand that, but just think about this right now. You've got George Kittle, who's aging. You've got Trent Williams and CMC, who are aging. Chances are in 2 seasons, all 3 of those guys might be gone. At least 2 of them will for sure be gone. And maybe even next year, 1 or 2 of them are gone. Next year, they play the AFC West and the NFC East. The year after that, they play the NFC North and the AFC North. The schedule is only going to get tougher the next couple of years on paper. So I can understand where you're coming from, because it is a lot to look at, those 3 players aging plus the tougher schedule. I just think that they've got to stay the course.
Not to mention Brock Purdy's contract, which gets much more expensive in terms of salary cap hits going forward.
Thank you. I was trying to blow your guys' mind. Nobody's mind was blown at all.
My mind was blown. It was just your internet. It was a little slow, so you didn't register all of our minds being blown at the same time.
You blew your internet's mind, is what you did. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's substantial, right? Like, because they have not paid a quarterback a lot of money. They're not really paying one this year. Next year's the first year they're actually going to have to do that. And so rolling over that money helps them. Not that I agree. I agree with you guys. I'd rather them go all in and win a Super Bowl. But I think that's mind-blowing.
I'm just cynical, man. To me, I feel like Jed and Eddie are very different. Eddie was all about football. To me, Jed bought a soccer team in Scotland this offseason. His English soccer team got promoted to the Premier League. He's going to be buying hella soccer players. He extended a bunch of his own 49ers. I think he's saying enough's enough, dude. Like, enough. Where, I mean, and that's what happens when you're spread so thin and you have a portfolio of teams and not just one. I mean, I think that's kind of why old school Niner fans loved Eddie so much, because he was maniacal about football and the 49ers. And he wasn't also like, you know what? I also kind of like this team that you've never heard of in another sport in another country.
How do you think Eddie D would do? And I hate to do this for Jed, but it is the truth. How do you think Eddie D would do in the free agent era, like the salary cap era? You know, like, I understand that a lot of what Eddie D did was what he tangibly could do, right? What he could put his hands on and make happen. But it's a song and dance. There's a savviness to today's game.
It does seem to me like the teams that want to spend a lot of money have figured out how to do it, like the Eagles. The Eagles aren't not spending money. They're just doing this thing where they put 7 void years on the end of every contract so that the big salary cap tax hits them way later when the cap, theoretically goes up by a lot, barring another global pandemic. I mean, that's sort of their workaround for the accounting. They figured out how to do it. The Niners do it to an extent, constant restructures, all these void years. I mean, Brock Purdy's contract's a perfect example of it.
I think Eddie might get over his skis on occasion, but I would love the aggression. I just want to see you try to do it, right? Like, the not trying is what's frustrating. I feel like they're more concerned with finances than they are with winning a Super Bowl. And I think that's what a lot of people get frustrated with in the York era versus Eddie D.
I think if Eddie had taken over the team when Jed did, a young Eddie, they obviously wouldn't be a 5 Super Bowl team or anything like that. But I think they'd have at least 2 during this time frame. He wouldn't wait around. Chip Kelly and some of those other guys, Jim Tomzula, would have never happened under Eddie D. It just wouldn't have.
Dangerous Dave's Jeeping Trips says Cubs is calling Jeep for sponsorship, getting wild. Then Joseph Ernberg says, according to Jesse, Bucks winning the Super Bowl. I feel like Jesse didn't say that.
I definitely didn't say that.